Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new around here, thank you for joining me today. I have a candle empties video for you guys, taking a look at all the candles I was able to wrap up in the month of April, which I need to get started on clearing some of these out because I have been really bad. I have been buying far more candles than I've been clearing out and finishing. And it's becoming a problem. I feel like I'm going to confessional here. I purchased, I think, 6 candles in that 3 for 33 3-wick sale from Kringle. I did the buy one, get one sale. And then I did the Easter 75% off with Kringle. And then I went back into the buy one, get one sale last night after I filmed my last video. I'm out of control. I'm out of control. I need to put the brakes on. And I really need to get to focusing on finishing up some of these ones that are kind of like half done and just lying around my house. So I made a little bit of a dent here, wrapping up some of the Easter ones that I had kind of like almost done, left over from March. For those who don't know, I'm an ambassador with Kringle Candle, and they had sent me their Easter collection to review. So a couple of these, I do have full reviews here on this channel, which I will link in the description of this video. If you want to go back and watch, we'll get a little bit more in depth in those reviews. Today we'll kind of just do a little bit of an overview, but some of these are sold out. I think a couple are still available, but yeah, so they sent me several of these here today in PR. So I got a really big head start because when I get sent candles, you know, it's my kind of like duty to review them for you guys, and I really try to burn as much as I possibly can. You know, as quickly as I possibly can, because usually it's kind of like a tight time frame from when I receive them to when they launch. So I just kind of like really burn through them as quick as I can. And so I did get a good head start on a lot of these in March. And then the ones that were kind of close to being done, I said, let me finish these before the end of the season, because I really don't want to keep these around until next year, especially with some backups of them already on the way to me today. I think they're coming today. But yeah, so that's kind of how I got to, you know, this point. Most of these are like spring, Easter type scents. I do have one little outlier here, but yeah. 6 Kringles, 1 Yankee. That's what I've got here today. So I guess let's get started with my one outlier, which is the Yankee candle. All right, so this one, this is Water Garden. This is an old one. This jar is from, let's see if there's a date, 2015. This was poured. Actually, no, maybe sooner. Wait, I'm looking at the wrong one. 2011, I think. Originally, this came out, I want to say 2008, because the first time I burned this fragrance was like in my first apartment when I was just starting out, and it's like a small, like little 2-bedroom apartment, and I picked up Water Garden from the Yankee Candle store. And I was burning it in my bathroom, and this thing was filling like my whole apartment. So things are a little bit different here. Now I have an open concept 2-story home, so not quite as strong. I also think there's like, you know, some decline in the quality from 2008 to more present time. But yeah, this is Water Garden, and this is kind of like one of those scents that I've only picked up because of the accessibility of Yankee candles in the stores. I'm a gourmand fan. I do like other fragrance categories like fresh scents and tree scents and things like that. But like something called Water Garden, I'm thinking floral. If I had never smelled this in the store, I probably never would have picked it up. So that's always been like the one plus to the candle companies that do have physical stores, or that you can find in like Home Goods or things like that, where you get to smell them first and maybe find things that you wouldn't have liked or tried otherwise. So this was one of those things that I smelled it in the store many years ago, loved it. I loved it when I first burned it. And this has kind of popped up well, no longer popping up, I should say. I feel like, do you feel like time just flies sometimes? I'm thinking about this like it was years ago, but it almost feels like yesterday. Several years ago, these were popping up in home goods stores, as well as like the Yankee Candle outlets and things. And at the time, I tried to get my hands on as many jars as I could. I think I might have 1 or 2 more jars of this left here as well. But I've always picked up as many as I could because I've always loved this scent. It's a very aquatic, fresh floral. outside my comfort zone in that sense that it's a floral, but I love the aquatic element here, and it is just so beautiful. I won't rave too much about it because, you know, you can't get your hands on it. I hate doing that. I hate being that guy. Like, this is amazing, but you can't buy it. No, but this is one of my all-time favorites if you're familiar with it. Yankee, after they did change the labels on their jars, there was a new version of Water Garden. But the scent was totally different. It was not this original scent. So, you know, this is one of those ones that if they ever brought it back, which, you know, I feel like Yankee doesn't really bring back too many old favorites from back in the day. You know, if they ever did, I would try it again, even though I don't buy too many Yankees. But I did find a cousin to this. Kringle had a candle called, I think it was Autumn Rain. Autumn Rain. I featured it here on my wall actually in a post not too long ago, but very similar sort of scent. You know, I feel like we have maybe a better chance of Kringle bringing that one back than Yankee, but yeah, like if you like that like aquatic floral, you're talking like lotus blossom and things like that. You know, like got the little lily pads on the label here. Very much your spring, rainy day, you know, good April showers sort of candle. But I've always loved this one. The strength, not great. These old Yankee paraffins with the single wicks, I'll tell you what, I have not had luck for them in a very long time. So I started burning this one in a hurricane, ended up putting the rest in my candle crock, which if you're not familiar with a candle crock, it's basically just a large warmer that you can stick your entire candle in. I actually did a video on that as well, which I can link in the description. But yeah, I finished this in the candle crock. Just kind of a nice background scent at this point. Nothing terribly spectacular, but it's also getting old. Sometimes they just don't age well. But yeah, that's Water Garden. Finish this up, and then I think I have maybe one or two more. So I might just like crock those completely, maybe next spring or later on this summer. But yeah, Water Garden from Yankee, an all-time favorite of mine. Kind of sad to see it go, but at the same time, because it's not quite the same as I remember it, you know, having the same impact, it's also kind of time to let it go. So with that, I do have 6 Kringles now to get into. Maybe we'll start with the one that's sort of out of season, although it's still available on the website if you are shopping the buy one get one sale. That is Tranquil Winter. This, I talked about it briefly in my buy one get one sale video because I did buy another one of this fragrance, but they sent the wrong one. So it should be here, I think today with my Easter order. But this one is part of the Winter Flight collection. There was 3 candles, this, Arctic Highway, and I think Winter Frost or something along those lines. But I wasn't sure if this was one of those ones that would get repoured or not, you know, or if it was going to just be like a limited run. I haven't really heard too much, but I know this one was pretty popular, especially with some of the other ambassadors as well. But I ended up really liking this. I burned through it quicker than normal for me. I had planned to kind of burn half and then stick it away. And then I don't know what happened. It was like one Sunday I was burning this. My son was down with the flu and I had this going in a hurricane, and you know, I kind of just got trapped under my son. He was sleeping for a while and I let it go for far longer than I ever expected. And even still, like with that nice long burn in there that day, I mean, I never really got too much soot on here. It's really been very clean. But this fragrance itself, I feel like, is kind of hard to describe. We've got notes of fir, herbal, apple, spice, wood, and musk. So when I bought this, looking at the notes, I was wondering if maybe it was going to be somewhat similar, a slightly more wintry version of Haunted Hollows, which came out from Kringle in the Halloween launch, which a lot of people were saying Haunted Hollows had a little bit of a like holiday or winter edge to it, which I kind of agree. But this one is slightly different. This one I get more apple. This I get a little bit more tree. This does feel more wintry to me than Haunted Hollows did. It's definitely a different scent. But I still think if you like one, you might like the other. It's kind of one of those ones that overlaps just enough that there has some similarities. This one, I get the tree note, a nice fresh fir, the herbal element is not like really astringent herbal. It's not, it's kind of a mellowed herbal. It just kind of like smooths out that tree note a little bit. And then the apple here, I've heard some say the apple smells like a baked apple to them. For me, I don't get that. I get more of a fresh apple, like a fresh slice of apple. For me, I don't know. I don't get that like warm baked apple sort of feel to it, because this whole candle itself, the fragrance overall feels very cool to me. And for me, cool goes more with crisp than warm and baked. So that could just be, you know, it's not like anybody's right or wrong. It's just one of those things where I just smell it differently. So throwing that out there, but I love this one. It's very like soothing. It's almost slightly clean. Yeah, slightly clean. But if you like those like sort of fresh winter scents, this one, it's funny because I burned it during Christmas time and I felt like it was appropriate for Christmas, but it's also very appropriate for after Christmas because that tree is not like screaming, you know, Christmas trees. With that apple in there, it just adds a little bit different of a note to it. The spice, I don't get a ton of spice, honestly. It's not a super spicy scent to me, but if it sticks around, I will probably try to review it next year, because I do plan on burning this one again next year once I have my backup. So if I can get to it next year, I will review it if it sticks around. If not, you know, this will kind of be farewell. But I really enjoyed this. I do get the wood here as well. That's the other piece. Just a nice woodsy fir with a little bit of apple, like a fresh, kind of almost juicy apple, and just a hint of an herbal quality. But it doesn't like there's nothing I could think of to compare it to. It smells like this or it smells like that. It's very conceptual. So if you like tree scents, you like apple in there, especially, you know, after holidays where you're still not kind of out of that tree craving yet, but you don't want it to smell like true Christmas trees, this is a good one. So I think it's still available on the buy one, get one sale if I get this video posted in time. But yeah, Tranquil Winter. For me, the strength was probably a medium to medium strong at times, but for most part, like consistently a medium. But I did burn this in a hurricane. So, you know, disclaimer there, when you burn in a hurricane, sometimes you can get a little bit more of a throw or a little bit amped up on the fragrance because it traps more heat. You get a little bit deeper wax pool, and the soy wax really does good with a little bit more heat than if you're just kind of burning it on its own. So, you know, that could have contributed to that nice solid medium that I was getting. But just a really, really nice scent. And I'm glad to have another one on the way because I was really kind of sad when I realized I pulled this out of the hurricane. I was like, oh my gosh, I burned through so much more than I anticipated. And, you know, at that point I said, let's just finish it off. But I would be sad if I didn't have another one coming because I really did enjoy this one. But that's Tranquil Winter. All right, so this is the only other Kringle I have here that is not part of the Easter collection, so I guess we'll do this next. This is one of the paint jar 3 wicks in the scent Sugared Diamonds, which if you look at the notes is actually Fruit and Flakes, which was in the tall Kringle jar collection a few years ago. And Fruit and Flakes is now discontinued, unfortunately, and I don't know why, because that was always popular. I loved it. I burned it when it came out originally, and then when they started discontinuing them, I picked up another, I think 1 or 2 jars I have downstairs that I picked up like 75% off, you know, discontinued clearance, yeah, clearance closeout or whatever. But yeah, I always loved that scent. The notes here: strawberry, red berry, baked pastry, banana, oats, cinnamon, clove, vanilla, and cooked sugar. So, you know, for me, I mean, this, I don't know why they discontinued this. It's so good. This is like a breakfast, I guess the concept was breakfast cereal, like Fruit and Flakes. So fresh fruit in a bowl of cereal. For me, it's a little bit more indulgent than, I guess, what I consider a bowl of cereal. You do get that element of that kind of like flakiness of it, the pastry element here, But for me, it's more like, I call this like a whole breakfast buffet, like a whole brunch breakfast buffet, where you've got a little bit of those pastries out there, you've got the fresh fruit, but you've also got you know, a little bit more sweetness, a little bit more richness to it with that cinnamon here. It's just really nice fragrance. The banana, I feel like, doesn't overwhelm the berry. Like, it's kind of there. Banana can be like an overpowering scent note, I feel like, sometimes. But this one, it's balanced with the berry. You get a little bit of that strawberry in there. Maybe a hint of a blueberry, but I would say mostly in your like red berry sort of family. And then, you know, you've got that banana, but, you know, it's just more indulgent, I feel like, than the just concept of cereal with fruit in it. So for me, I loved it. It was like a perfect Sunday morning scent, anytime scent. You know, I pulled this out because of the Easter look, but really you can burn this any time of year. And, you know, I'm glad I have a couple more of this fragrance, even if I don't have any more in this jar. But performance was great. I mean, my 2-wick jar performed, you know, always really well for me, a solid medium strength in the past. So this, I would say, maybe slightly more than a medium, you know, depending at times, like with the 3 wicks here, you just get a little bit more power, but very comparable. So I don't know. I'm really sad that they discontinued this one. Burn was good, really clean. I've never had a problem yet. I shouldn't jinx myself because I have several more 3 wicks to get through, but I've never had a problem with the Kringle jars with the wicks dudding out halfway like I do with other 3-wick candle brands, which I've talked about here. I won't get into today, but these have always burned all the way down for me, never dudding out. Sometimes they can burn a little hot. You do have to watch the wicks here and there, but never getting really murky or discolored, never having that changeover of the scent that you get when you have those puny wick candles. So, you know, I'll be sad to see the 3 wicks go. My sticking point with these was always that I didn't love the painted on design and the price point. You know, unless I get these on sale, I don't like buying a lot of the 3 wicks because I feel like I just burn through them so much quicker that for me, cost-wise, it makes more sense for me to get the like larger jars than the 3 wicks. But yeah, that's just me. But Sugar Diamonds, this was a really good one. And like I said, I think I have 2 more Fruit and Flakes in the original jars. So probably not the last time you'll see Fruit and Flakes here on my channel. But all right, I guess we'll get into maybe the Easter 3 wicks that I have. I have 2 of those and then 2 large jars, and then we're out. So let's get into Bunnies and Flowers. All right, for Bunnies and Flowers, this one, how cute. This didn't get a lot of attention through Easter. I never would have paid much mind to it if they didn't send me this. This is one of the ones that they sent me to review. But I ended up loving this one, and I burned through it so fast. This was the first one of the Easter scents that I finished because I just couldn't stop burning it. It was perfect for those like dreary spring days, which we had quite a few here in the Northeast. But Bunnies and Flowers, I have a full review posted here on the channel that will be in the description. But just kind of a quick overview. For notes, we have green, foliage, vetiver, floral, moss, and wood. So for me, this is kind of having the same appeal to me that like Water Garden did. It's almost like that fresh floral where you have a slightly almost dewy element here to that moss and the foliage. You know, the green here is not like, it's not super grassy. It's more like fern-like to me, but it's just a really nice balance. It's very clean, very soothing. It borders on soapiness. I think in my review, I talked about how like when you first light it, I get a little bit more of the soapiness and then it kind of mellows out a little bit. But yeah, I still love it. So for me, performance was decent. It wasn't the strongest. It was probably more of a medium to medium light, depending on the pool. If I really let this thing get going with a good pool, I would say bordering into the medium. Probably does better in a smaller room than like a full open concept area. But for the most part, I burned this in my kitchen. And when I was in the kitchen and it was going, I was picking it up and it would travel a slight bit down the hall. So, you know, every home is going to be different. You're going to get a little bit different performance, you know, based on your layout, based on the airflow. But strength wise, you know, it did okay for me, enough that I was enjoying it and enough that I actually bought 2 more of these. I waited until it went to 75% off. I liked it. I didn't like it enough to buy it at full price. I was really tempted at the 50% off, but I held strong. And then when it came to 75% off, I said, oh, well, that's it. I'm buying 2 more because I really like this. I think I'll be pulling one out again next spring. And yeah, I mean, it's just a nice, pretty like design here too. This is one of those ones you can kind of like clean out and maybe use as like a little lantern. Like if you put a little tea light in this jar and just illuminate it up on a mantle, especially if you have like those little like pillar, you know, candle, what do they call them? Like the little candlesticks where you can kind of put the jar on top and like stagger 2 like different heights. That would be cute. With the bunnies here, but I really liked this one, Bunnies and Flowers. So the last I looked, it was still available in the 75% off. So if you're shopping that BOGO sale, you know, take a look at this one if you like those sort of like grassy, well, not grassy, but green, fresh, slightly floral. The floral here is not as potent to me as like the greenery. I feel like the greenery has a slight edge in this one versus the grassy, the floralness, but if you like those like fresh spring scents, don't sleep on this one. This is kind of like one of those like gems. So Bunnies and Flowers, really enjoyed it. And again, probably never would have noticed it or picked this one up if they hadn't sent it to me. So stepped outside my comfort zone and it paid off. So that's that. And then we have one more of 3 wicks, and that is Sweet as Can Be. That is with the little Easter egg design, also reviewed here on my channel. I reviewed it kind of in conjunction with another empty here, Lemon Sugar Marshmallow. So I guess we'll kind of talk about these together maybe. These are the same scent. Essentially, we have notes here of lemon, pastry, butter, vanilla, and sugar. So Lemon Sugar Marshmallow was around last year in the Easter collection in this jar. We also saw it as Easter Chicks in like, there's like a little like milky white decorative jar with like a chick pattern around the outside. But that one I heard had some wick issues. I never bought that one, but this one, this is the original batch. There was 2 batches of this. So they sold out really quickly, I think quicker than they anticipated, and then came out with a second round of repours. So I've been hearing kind of like mixed things about the wicks, and the repour I think was a little bit tougher than the first round. For me, I did still have a little bit of trouble here with the 2 wick. It wasn't until like the last third of the jar that I started to have a little bit of the wicks drowning a little bit. I thought it was just me. I thought maybe I just trimmed it too far, but then I started hearing others report the same thing. So I think it was just this candle, but I ended up cotton balling some of the wax out, and then it was able to self-correct for the last of it. You could see this was a little bit sootier here. The wax didn't get too murky. But I was able to salvage the rest of it, and then I put the rest of it in the candle crock. But that, you know, burning this one as I finished the old one here, I kind of stand by everything I said in that review that I did of these, kind of talking about the difference. I do feel like there was a subtle difference, and it wasn't in the scent itself. I think the scent, you know, at its core is the same. I think it's just translating slightly differently in the 3 wick, because I do still feel like I got a little bit more of the pastry note in the 3 wick than I do in this one. This one being a little bit more intense on the lemon, you know, still a good amount of lemon and Sweet as Can Be, don't get me wrong, but I felt like the pastry element came out a little bit more in here, even though essentially the same fragrances. So both of these are sold out now, unfortunately. I don't know we'll see it again. I really hope. I know some people have been hoping for it to kind of appear in the regular lineup as like a lemon bar or something like that. But yeah, I really, you know, I want it to be around, but then at the same time, I feel like it's almost like one of those things like you look forward to every year. It makes it feel a little bit more special, you know, when it finally comes out. But that's assuming that they keep bringing it back as well. But yeah, this is very like lemon gourmand, both of these here. They say, you know, marshmallow. It's not really like to me, a creamy marshmallow. It's really more focused on the lemon with a little bit of sweetness in there as well. And then just, you know, an undertone of bakery, a little bit more in this one. But if you like those sort of like nicely balanced, it's kind of tart, but it's also sweet, very juicy lemon, very fresh lemon, but you've got to like lemon because there is quite a bit of it in here. And I burned this one a lot when I needed like a good strong scent quickly. So after cooking, this was a great like clear out the cooking smells sort of fragrance. Or you know, some nights when I only had like an hour or two to enjoy or relax before we had to get up to bed, I would burn this because I knew it would pull out pretty quick, give me a nice burst of scent pretty quickly. And you know, that's what I used it for. I did pick up 2 more of these. I missed the lemon sugar marshmallow clearance. It sold out before I could get it, but this was still around when I made my order, so I grabbed 2 more jars of this as well. So I'm looking forward to at least having another year or 2 of this. This one did get slightly, I don't even think you can really see it on the camera here, slightly sootier in the wax, slightly discolored, but still like not crazy. And I burned this down more than I usually do. Usually I kind of stick it in the candle crock like a burn before this, but it was doing well, so I just kind of let it go. But yeah, I think I have 1 more of the re-pour of this in my stash downstairs. So I do have another lemon sugar marshmallow. Hopefully it doesn't give me too many wick issues, but nevertheless, I will have 2 more of these coming. No regrets. I love this design too, so I might see about repurposing this in some fashion because it's just really cute. All right, but that's like kind of sweet as can be and lemon sugar marshmallow, you know, 2 in the same. And then let's see, I've got 1 more. All right, last but not least, the only other one I was able to finish from Easter here was carrot cake. So this one sold out now, but this, it's one of those ones, I liked it, I enjoyed it, but I kind of feel like 1 was enough for me. Notes here, I also reviewed this one already. Carrot cake, spice, vanilla frosting. I talked about in that video, you know, whether or not it was the same as last year's version in the country candle format. They said it was, some said it smelled similar, some said it was different. I didn't have the original version, but for me, just going on what this is kind of like a spice cake with a little bit of that carrot element in there. It's kind of like a sweet baked carrot with quite a bit of frosting. And for me, it's not truly authentic to like what typically carrot cake is with the cream cheese frosting. I feel like I kind of like this better without a cream cheese element, but that's just me. But I mean, nevertheless, I feel like there was times when I could get like maybe a hint of a walnut in there, but you know, not consistently. For me, the issue I had with this one, you know, it was good, it was enjoyable. The burn was a little bit touch and go at times. This got to a slow start. There was a little bit longer pooling time for the first several burns. And it never got to the point where it was like dudding out or getting like full puny wicks. You know, it always burned okay. It always pooled. It wasn't like totally drowning, but it never was quite as hot as the Kringle jars usually are for me. Like it was never at its like full potential. So I feel like it maybe that held back the scent a little bit. This I would say was kind of in a medium range where, you know, on the scale of the Easter fragrances, lemon sugar marshmallow Easter brunch being like the highest, strongest of those collections, and then this kind of falling more in that medium ground where it was noticeable, it was present, but it wasn't as strong as I would have thought just based on cold sniff and just based on that spice element here. But yeah, like I'm glad I tried it. I would have bought this if they didn't send it to me review. I would have bought it anyway, but this one, you know, it just, I said this in another video as well. It was kind of just lacking a little bit of a wow factor, something that made me feel like, oh, this is super unique and I need to stock up. Like there was nothing wrong with it. It was fine, but there was nothing that really drew me in to want to like buy a bunch more. So I didn't buy any backups of this one. But you know, decent nonetheless. I really love the label here. That's probably my favorite part here is this label. So I'm happy to have that for my scrapbook. But yeah, I mean, it was good. I feel like I talked about this in my buy one get one video. There's a couple of candles that come to mind where if you want that like sort of spice bakery, there's a couple candles that I would reach for before that, before this one, and that is the Warm Cinnabuns and Holiday Churro, which was one of the Christmas limited editions in the Country line. I actually think they just added that to the buy one get one sale, but those two had a little bit more of a wow factor, drew me in a little bit more, where I would reach for those two for that sort of spiced bakery feeling before reaching for this one. So, you know, again, not a bad scent. I know some people really enjoyed this one. So, you know, everyone has their preferences. That's just me. But yeah, it was a really good Easter. I mean, really good fragrances. I have one more of the 3 Wicks burning behind me. I am trying to finish this off. It's the Berry Citrus Bloom, I think it was called. That was probably my least favorite from the Easter collection. And then I did purchase a backup of the Easter Petals, the other yellow candle. I reviewed that as well. I purchased one more of the Easter Petals at 75% off. And then I wasn't going to do it. I had said I don't see myself buying it, but I did at 75% off. They got me, and I did purchase Jelly Beans, or Jelly Bean Jubilee. So that will be my first time trying it. When it comes in, I think maybe I'll tack that on to another video that I have planned. But, you know, when it comes in, I'll give my first impressions of that one as well, because I never covered that one at Easter. But yeah, those are the ones that I ended up getting backups of. So 2 Sweet as Can Be's, 2 Bunnies and Flowers, and then an Easter Petals and a Jelly Bean Jubilee. So, really good Easter. I feel like it's always been one of their stronger, you know, launches for the last couple years. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what they have in store for Easter next year. But, nevertheless, that's what I've got for today. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to try to maybe squeeze in one more filming this week. I'll see if I can get it done today. Maybe I can get it done today. Let's see. Fingers crossed, but thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up on this video, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because all that really helps me, you know, with the algorithm. I'm still figuring out this whole YouTube thing. So thank you for bearing with me. Getting a tickle, so I think it's time to end this. All right. Thank you guys. I will be talking to you guys soon with another video. Have a great day.